There's a guy we met in church. His name was Glauco, and it's a really fun name, right? This guy is just stud of all studs, just capoeira master. You know, like he taught capoeira, the martial arts. He's just such a cool, down to earth, just guy, just awesome. And I remember walking up to him at church, and because he just showed up at church, and he was instantly like, "Hey, yeah, like you guys want to teach me?" You know, we're like, "Yeah," but his story is kind of interesting. So he was at a bar, like earlier in the week, he was at a bar, and he saw this girl that he just was instantly in love with. He just said he just was apasionado, for this girl, and it turns out she was a member who was finding her way back to church, which is kind of an interesting situation there. But they actually started talking about it because it was something that was important to her. She was trying to get better and strengthen her own life. And she told him about church, and he was like, "I'll go too." That was it. He was just like, "I'll go too," with his all intentions just to follow this girl to church, get to know her better, you know what I mean? Didn't really care about church, never really did. But he talks about how he showed up at church, and like the instant feeling of peace. He was like, had never really felt that before. He was like, "Okay, weird. Okay, whatever, it's calm." And then in sacrament, as they said this, as the sacrament was blessed and prepared, he said like he's just a contentment and just this feeling that he's never felt before came over him, and he just started crying. And this is like a stud of all studs. This is like, manliest man. And so it was really funny to hear him talk about it, but he wasn't ashamed. He was really excited about it. And that is the story of how we met Glauco. He was raising his two kids, fun-loving kids, kind of wild, and just great kids. And it was so cool seeing how the gospel changed his life, because he totally changed. His life, he just like immediately just grabbed onto the gospel, and it became a huge part of his life. His kids were baptized. He was baptized. He shared it with everyone. Eventually, he ended up marrying that member in the temple, the girl that he met in the bar, which I imagine that just has to be one of the coolest experiences to think about. The first time they met, and they're like in a bar, and then they're being sealed together in the temple, like, a year later, probably a little bit longer than that. But I will never forget the story of Glauco. I still, thank goodness to social media, I still keep track of Glauco, and I'm able to talk to him often. And that's what the gospel's about. It's about, it's about change. It's about progress. It's about finding people that seem like they have really no chance, or just seems like it's not for them, and then watching how it just operates in their life. Because the gospel's for everyone, right? No matter what it seems like. I think that's a fallacy to think that someone doesn't need the gospel. Like, oh, they're rich, or they already have a church, so they don't really want it. It doesn't matter if they don't want it, they need it. And so it's really cool to see Glauco's life change, about like just to do a complete like 180. Love that guy. I'll forever just love that guy.